Welcome back to the Raising Our Vibration podcast, where we explore higher consciousness through spiritual practice. And today our topic is strengthening your intuition. And our very special guest, someone we know very well, is Monica Augustine. Monica is an intuitive life coach, a Holy Fire Karuna Reiki master teacher and practitioner, and she also teaches intuition courses. So welcome, Monica. So glad to have you here.
Thank you. It's wonderful to be here.
So we thought we'd begin today just with you sharing a little about what it's like to work with you. What do you do with your clients, and why do they come to you, and anything you'd like to share?
Sure. Thank you so much for having me, guys. So basically, I welcome all clients and any questions, really. I would say the main focus would be relationships, but relationships to everything. So not just relationships to people, but our relationships to ourselves, relationships to money, job, career, spirituality. So it's the way that I've learned and grown over the years doing this. I think this is about my 8th year going into this now, is that everything is a relationship, pretty much. Relationships to life, our perspectives. It's all how we relate to it and how we open up to it. So, yeah, I love to work with people on, you know, any questions they have that I tune into them, their energy field, and also call in higher guidance, support from their higher selves, my higher self, Reiki, spirit guides of love and light. And we begin just by tuning into their energy field, getting their questions, their topic of interest. And sometimes I realize that even their topic, their question of focus, isn't always exactly what the session ends up being about. But it's a good starting point. It's a good trailhead to take us into that. Yeah.
And so, for instance, can you give us an idea about maybe somebody came to you and said, "Oh, here's what I want," but then as you went into your reading their energy field and so on, like, "Oh, I'm seeing something underneath that," and presenting that to them. How would that work?
Yeah. No, absolutely. So one thing I've noticed a lot lately, and I think it might just be growing as an intuitive life coach as well on my end, because there's a lot of growing that goes into it, is a lot of times when we think that the issue is with somebody else, um, including myself, we think, oh, it's got to be this, or it's got to be because of this or this person. A lot of times it always turns back and focuses on ourself, not in so much a self-focused way, but almost more of a way of, well, let's go ahead and look at that, and we can look at the relationship and put it up on the screen. And I'll take people through that today, but put that up on the screen and see the dynamic between these two people or three people, or a boss and a job, or whatever the relationship is. But a lot of times it comes back to the person taking responsibility for their part, because that's really ultimately the only thing they can control anyway, is that. And so that's been real interesting to see how that a lot of times full circle comes back to the person and what they can actually do, even if legitimately these things are happening, or these stresses, or these um, complications in the relationship. They're definitely there, but usually it comes back around to, oh, I didn't realize that's how I was engaging with this person, or that's not, I didn't realize that's what I was, how I was interacting. So it's actually quite empowering, and because then they can actually do something about it, and that's very exciting.
Mm, nice.
Really, really wonderful, Monica, hearing this, because I wanted to focus in on something specific that I know lots of viewers and listeners often have curiosity about, and that's about intuition itself, and particularly for example, if we took an example like you mentioned, Reiki guides, tuning into our guides is in itself a form of intuition. In fact, the guide appeared right then when I said that. So it's kind of lovely that that happens. Now, I'm curious, first of all, how does that arise for you? Because I know people sometimes see guides or hear guides or just feel an intuitive nudge or whatever that happens to be. So one is how it arises for you. And then lots of people are pretty hard on themselves when it comes to intuition. You know, they hear that somebody's seen a guide, for example, I'm just using guides as an example, and they say, oh, well, I don't see anything. So am I doing something wrong? Or I only feel it. I feel there's something there. But so one is just how you do that personally. And then two is what guidance would you have for our listeners or viewers into how to get in touch with that guidance, that kind of guidance? Because I think people are really curious about that, especially when an adept such as yourself has, it seems, effortless and easy access to that. How do they go about cultivating that kind of skill?
Absolutely. So to answer the first question, for me, I basically, clear out myself, my personality, um, any self-focus, anything I'm thinking about, I send it down a grounding cord, and I'll take your listeners and you guys through this process today too. But letting go of Monica, letting go of like the personality of Monica, um, just releasing any opinions, hopes for an outcome, anything that relates to the self, that gets grounded down the grounding cord, gets recycled into something positive for the universe. And then I welcome in love and light into my heart. So that's like how I start, so that I can be clear of, any kind of projections from myself or personality or anything like that. And then for me, I do call in Reiki, I call in God. Uh, I also, everyone has different beliefs. They're all welcome. Uh, Whatever they are for people. I just have, Reiki, God, love, universe, anything of love and light is welcome to guide our sessions. And I tune in clairvoyantly first. Clairvoyance is I would say probably my main clair, my strongest one. And then I also hear clairaudiently and then clairsentiently are my three, um, I'd say main cultivated ones that come most naturally for me. So I'll see when I tune into somebody what's around them, what's inside of them, what they're feeling, thinking. And on a superficial layer, more like thoughts and stuff, but then on a deeper layer, I'll tune in more to their heart space, and that feels like it gives me more of a deeper sense for them. And then there's the more superficial thoughts, that beliefs and things they're thinking, that I'll pick up on as well. But then also just listening clairaudiently to, um, the way I interpret it is my higher self, but it's also spirit guides, and it could be theirs as well. But it comes through, and it bears positive fruit. So then I know that it's good and it's helpful. But that's how I tune in initially and how I get started. Yeah.
Beautiful. Okay, sorry. I was going to just add to that, because people often feel that there is, maybe you've woken up to this as a child. Did that kind of thing happen to, was that when you first were aware of those clairvoyant, clairaudient, clairsentient? Was that what happened? And was it a sudden thing, or was it gradual?
Yeah.
How did that?
Well, when started or noticing these things, I didn't really know it was a thing. So, I mean, I was pretty young. The first time I actually remember it happening, the clairvoyant, I just remember tuning into just having a sense of, I don't know that anyone taught me that, or I don't remember anyone teaching me that, but I would just sit and close my eyes and tune into the day and sometimes other people, um, kind of just to feel, honestly, to feel safe. It was more of like a feeling safe kind of thing for me. And I remember being 9 years old and tuning into what the day was going to be and feeling into the day and then feeling into an individual. And then I got a clear vision of, oh, this might be helpful if I do this today to avoid, just to be honest, just to avoid danger. Uh, and it was, um, most times just very accurate. And then, but I didn't really think much of it. It's just something I just naturally did when I woke up, and it was just kind of a friend to me, a tool. And I could feel also young going through some experiences I went through. I just naturally, it definitely wasn't like a real positive thing for me, but I was still such a young person. But then as I grew up now, I realized, oh, now that I realize that's, I just need to ask the question, is this mine or is this somebody else's? So I can differentiate what's happening. But for me, it just was a natural thing where I would also have dreams that would come true like the next week. Um, some pleasant, some not so pleasant. But I just didn't really think much of it. I just said, oh, this is just how I do things. And then um, I got older and I kept using it, usually to feel safe. And now I use it to help people with insight and clarity and steps forward. But I didn't know it was going to turn into a gift. I really didn't think much of it. But yeah.
I love that. That is a really, I also love the fact that it's arisen out of something that lots of people feel, and that is either not safe or
Mhm.
danger, or not safe in an environment or a body, and because you're so attuned to that, you know exactly how somebody feels in that moment. I'm curious, before I pass back to Kevin, is there a particular, I don't know, an example of the way you got suddenly struck by an intuitive insight, either for a client or for yourself? Just something that kind of really struck you as like, well, that came out of seemingly nowhere, and it just really struck you as it's almost impossible for that to happen in any other way, but it came very spontaneously and suddenly. Because I love the way you said, you're open to the light and you're open to all those feels. So I'm wondering, is there a particularly striking moment when that happened or unfolded, either for you or in a client situation?
Yeah, I have a couple that come to mind, Stephen. I'll try to share both because they're both interesting. I think people would be interested in them. Um, the first one that comes to mind is when Will was born, um, our son. He was born 24 weeks at 1 pound 11 ounces, and it was very, very scary and for everybody. But I woke up. I had a dream. This was a week, I think, before he was born, maybe a week or two, and first baby. So I had a dream that there was a baby in this huge big bubble, and it was this beautiful blue, brilliant blue bubble. Of course, I think now the bubble was my belly, and yeah, it's a bit emotional talking about it. Woo. he's 22 now. Thankfully, he's doing well. But long story. He had, 4 surgeries, NICU for 4 months. It was very trying. And um, so then this little tiny little finger, pinky, came out of the bubble, grabbed my finger. It was the tiniest finger possible, like humanly possible, and said, "Mommy, don't let me go." And then I woke up just out of bed, just laying there, and just like something just pulled me up, and I was like, "Oh my God." And then I woke Kevin up and I told him the dream, and I was like, "There's this big blue bubble, and then the baby," and I saw Will's head in my third eye. I saw him exactly the way he looked when he came out. He looked like a little baby bird because you could see through their skin, because he was so early. And I was like, why would he look like that? And I told Kev about the bubble, and the baby said, "Don't let me go." And he said, "They're going to say, let me go, but don't believe them. I want to be here. Just got to help me." And I was like, wow, that was really powerful. So then I told Kev the whole thing. I said, "I think we need to remember this. I don't know what's happening." But a week later, long story short, or short story long, um, Will came, and I'm skipping a bunch of steps here, but there were like 8 nurses in the room. There's a minister with holy water because they just figured he was going to not make it. And I was on magnesium. So Kev's like, I said, I thought they might think I was just kind of drugged up and not thinking, hallucinating. And thank God I told Kevin the dream. But and then they said, "I think we're going to have to let the baby go." And I said, "Oh, hold on a second. I remember something." And I said to the doctors and the nurse and the whole room was crying, I think, Kev, right? I mean, and I said, "Wait, the baby said, 'Don't let me go.' And you're going to say, 'Let him go.'" But so I told everyone the story. I said, "So we got to give him a try." And then the doctor said, "Okay, well, if he doesn't come out with energy, we're going to let him go. If he comes out with any sign of life, then we'll give it a go." And Kevin said he came out and he was kind of kicking and moving his body, and they were amazed, and they said, "Okay, we're going to give it a go." And now Will's here, and he had a 4.0 last year and last semester, and he's doing great. And we all survived, and it was quite a journey, but that was one that comes to mind, Stephen.
That is just so touching. I got tears.
Oh my gosh.
So beautiful.
It was really
Ah,
challenging for everybody. And
sure.
I'm holding back tears too right now. I just don't want to be a blubbering mess on your podcast. You
we
know,
will be blubbering messes for you then. We'll hold that space. Thank
but
you, Monica. That's so brave and beautiful and courageous from all three, all four, the whole
oh my
family.
gosh, thankfully for Kev that he stood up for me and said, "No, she's not drugged up. She really told me this last week." And it helped me feel like I had support, because everyone was like, "Yeah, I know. You're just on, it's your medicine." And by the way, the doctors were brilliant, but they see these things, so they have a different perspective than we do. But thankfully, Kev was there to say, "She's really not making this up." She's not, you know, losing her mind. So,
That's
but that was one that came to
magical and
mind.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Wow, Monica, that is just, yeah, that's a wow. That's a wow of a story. So thanks to you and Will and Kev and all that team and everybody.
Yeah.
So,
Greg. Yeah.
and Greg. Yeah, Greg's part of it as well. Wow, that's a truly magical story. Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you. So I'm gonna
Yeah.
oh, just beautiful. I'm gonna pass back to Kevin. Kevin might be speechless at this point. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thanks for sharing that story, Monica.
Yeah.
And just on that subject of, you've learned to trust your intuition, right? Because, I mean, of countless countless times and you do it as work now. So it's been a process, though, right, of strengthening your intuition. And that's something we can all do. And that's something that we can learn from you. So we'd love to have you guide us in this meditation, strengthening your intuition, so everyone can have a felt sense, a real experience for themselves about connecting with this deep sense of intuition. So I invite you to share that practice with us.
Absolutely, I'd love to. And I would like to just preface that with everybody has it. I'm not anything special. Everybody has intuition, and um, everyone can cultivate and develop it. Because yeah, like Kevin said, it's been a process. I've had a lot of doubt and just fear because you just want to really do right by others, people you're helping. It's so important, and so at first there can be doubt, but then over time, don't give up, because it's a gift that we've all been given. I feel at birth is to tune into that and natural ability. It's just like seeing or hearing or tasting, and it just takes time to cultivate and trust it. And the more you do it and you see that life validates it and says, yes, that's accurate, and it produces really positive and helpful fruits, it just builds your confidence. So yeah, I'd like to lead with that because I definitely had a lot of doubt many times. But yeah, I'll go ahead and lead you guys through just a relatively short meditation called Strengthening Your Intuition. Should I just go ahead and go on in? Okay. All right, everybody. So if everybody can just find a nice seat, a comfortable seat, and just take this time out to just really nurture yourself and nurture your intuition, and just trust that it's possible. And I'll guide you through this practice that will help you know how to tune into specific information clairaudiently, inner hearing, clairvoyantly, inner seeing, clairsentiently, inner feeling, and claircognizantly, inner knowing. Okay, so to begin, just make sure you're really comfortable, and just go ahead and sit up somewhat tall and alert while being soft and relaxed and receptive in your body and mind. And your feet can be on the floor, or you can be sitting cross-legged. And rest your hands wherever they feel most comfortable, with your palms up or down. And to help you let go of your outer senses so you can tune into your inner senses, gently close your eyes. Take a nice deep breath in, and then exhale. And allowing any tension you may be holding just to release. You can imagine it just melting down your body and into the earth to be recycled. Let's take one more deep breath in. And just sigh as you exhale slowly. Yeah, and at this time, I'd also like to just thank uh, Lauren Sky and Psychic Horizons and Raising Our Vibration for meditation course. I've gathered some of this meditation today from their teachings, and then some that I've just cultivated over time. So if you can just now go ahead and envision a tiny little version of yourself sitting right in the center of your head, directly between your ears, in a comfy, cozy, and safe chair. However the chair appears to be is just perfect. Enjoy and be curious about what appears in this meditation and how your intuition presents itself. Everyone's intuition appears differently, and no comparison is ever needed. Here in this chair, you can rest as a non-judgmental, curious, neutral observer of images, sensations, sounds, words, memories, any information in any form. You just want to be a neutral, curious observer with no intention for any outcome. It's a big part of intuition is suspending desire and dismissing nothing, acknowledging all these forms, but not attaching to them. See if it's possible to suspend these. Accept whatever form it presents itself in, whether you immediately understand it or not, that's okay. It is natural at first to want to understand information. For now, simply observe with openness, acceptance, and receptivity. This attitude is important because any desire for an attachment to a specific outcome or avoidance of information that arises can interfere with you receiving what is actually there. When you are comfortably seated in your chair, in the middle of your head, imagine you have a grounding cord attached to your tailbone. This grounding cord can be made of anything. It can look like a tube, a slide, a string. And just trust your intuition. Whatever arises is perfect. And again, see if you can allow the form of this cord to arise naturally and effortlessly. Do your best to not overthink it. Just let it be what it is. Notice if the cord has a color, a texture, or a temperature. Notice if it's straight or it's spiral. And just have fun with this. Noticing is an essential part of intuition. Recognizing and releasing any shoulds, expectations, or desired outcome is essential. And if you notice these arise, it's natural as well. You can let them go down the grounding cord when you are aware of them. Compassionately and kindly, just let them go right down the grounding cord. Once you have your grounding cord in place, imagine that you push a button in your chair, your cozy, comfy chair. It can be a button anywhere. Allow the button to arise wherever it does. And this is a part of knowing how your intuition works. Go ahead and push the button, and it turns on the grounding cord. This grounding cord gently pulls any limiting belief, energy of any kind, to the center of the earth to be recycled into positive energy that can be used positively for the earth and for others. If for any reason you're not seeing anything or feeling anything, or the grounding cord or yourself in the middle of your head, that's okay. Just hang in there with it, breathe, and release. Just imagine releasing any doubt or fear down. If you can't find a grounding cord, you can just let it kind of just melt off your body, that intention. The earth energy and the grounding cord work together. The cord stays in place and is turned on for this entire meditation. So anytime you notice and you're aware of limiting beliefs, doubts, fears, judgments, that's okay. That's natural to have. The earth energy will just pull that right through the grounding cord and recycle it. Now, simply and effortlessly open your heart and mind. Rest as a non judgmental, neutral observer of information. And if anyone is asking how to open the heart and how to open the mind, one way to do that that's helpful for me is I just imagine in my heart space, in my chest, I just imagine turning like a wheel, or that fourth chakra energy. I imagine turning it clockwise to open it up. And in my mind, I just imagine a clear sky. Now go ahead and be aware of the sensations in your body. Sometimes that can be a little scary for people. It has for me before. And just notice any sensations, and just notice how you're safe in your body and your surroundings right now. And you're not defined by any sensations. And there's nothing you need to do with them. Just be aware of them. And try to suspend any need to label them as good or bad. Being aware of any sounds inside or outside your body or from other subtle realms. Now just be aware of the crown chakra, the top of your head, and just be aware of any energy in that area. Notice if any energy is coming in through the crown, and just be aware of that space. You can imagine opening it up as well. And just noticing is the first step to opening and strengthening our intuition. Noticing and dismissing nothing, even a little just like twitch in your leg or a ringing in your ear. You want to just notice these things, or a memory. Now, while staying calmly seated in the center of your head as a neutral observer, place a stage or a blank screen out in front of you, third eye level. And on this stage or screen, I want you to place a flower of your choice. So this can be like a blank movie screen or a stage, an empty stage. And just go ahead and intend for a flower of your choice to be placed on the screen or on the stage. And just enjoy noticing what type of flower appears, what color it is, and what arises. And just notice if this flower, what color, if it's laying on the floor, if it's straight up, if it has how many blossoms are on it. Also feel into with your heart, clairsentiently, if this flower has an energy of joy or sadness or caution. That's more of a clairsentient ability. And once you get this flower arises from awareness, pose a question to the flower. Anything that you would like to gain more insight on for yourself. An example could be, what is important for me to know about blank today? Or what do I need to know to move forward in my job? Or what can help me heal this certain ailment I have right now? Or, how can I be a better friend or a mom or a dad? And just pose any question into the flower. Your only job as a neutral observer is to watch what happens to the flower. Watch what happens clairvoyantly. Feel what happens clairsentiently. And with an open heart and mind, notice any shifts in the flower's appearance. And keep in mind to dismiss nothing. It can be really easy to dismiss things like a petal falls off. You can be like, well, that's nothing. Well, that's very, very important. So just notice any shifts in this flower's appearance. Does it change color? Does it grow more petals? Is it leaning to the left or the right? Is it getting bigger or smaller? And just notice the shifts and what they feel like and what they look like. Trust what you see, trust what you hear, and feel and know. Trusting ourselves can be one of the biggest obstacles. And really, we're really not trusting ourselves as much as we're trusting life and awareness to show us we're just simply the observer. And if you recognize your mind gets chatty or you have cluttered feelings, go ahead and just compassionately welcome any chatter or anxiousness or limiting beliefs to just flow down the grounding cord into the earth. That's what the grounding cord is for. It also gives you great awareness of limiting beliefs for your daily life as well. And I use this grounding cord in my daily life as well when those things come up. And just notice what's happening on the screen or the stage. If you need to pose the question again, if you want to refocus your attention, then simply wait and observe anything that arises on the screen or in your mind. Notice and sense in your heart how to interpret anything that arises. Interpretation of intuitive information and subtle energy can come through any and all of your senses. And this is the most trickiest part, is interpretation. So we want to just do our best to let go of any desired outcome. And does this energy of what's coming up feel joyful, sad, cautious, hopeful? And you're already successful by just taking the time to notice. It's already a beneficial practice for you. Continue remaining open and curious until you feel complete for now with this question and this flower. Keep in mind that information may continue to come to you after this meditation in the events and interactions of your day. After you feel complete for now about what you were shown, let's go ahead and take a few slow, deep breaths in and out through your heart. Another nice deep breath in. Let's go ahead and release the grounding cord. We're going to just let it unhook and let it fall to the center of the earth to be recycled into a pool of lava. This will recycle and be gifted back to the earth for something useful for everyone. Release your screen or stage to go down its own grounding cord. It can just fold up, go down its own grounding cord. And the flower as well. And we want to thank it for its participation. I just like to thank any energy that shows up in any form. If a person shows up, or a guide, or the flower, the screen, it's all a part, in my interpretation, it's all a part of supporting us. So I like to thank all of it. And then we're going to replenish ourselves. If you can imagine and feel a golden sun above your head, filling with whatever your intuition says you need. Imagine pictures of that desired energy are pouring into the top of the sun. And on the side of the picture, it could be love. It could be kindness. It could be faith, trust, gratitude. It could be vitamin C. It could be anything. And just trust it and let it pour and fill up that golden sun. And once your golden sun right above your crown is filled up, and take a little pin and pop and drop the contents of the sun in through the top of your head, in through the crown or your seventh chakra, welcoming and breathing in this energy, allowing it to filter into and flow down through your entire body, into every cell, every tissue and bone. The whole contents of the sun flow down into you and are digested into your body, spiritual body, physical body as nourishment. You can actually really feel that this is as if you just drank really healthy water or orange juice or vitamin enriched water. It's what it feels like to me. Let's just take a nice deep breath in through the heart, and smile and feel gratitude for all that you were shown today. Valuing the information and acknowledging it is very important. Dismissing nothing, letting go of any shoulds is a practice as well. If you can just sit for a couple minutes, letting this integrate. If you want to take any notes, you can. Just noticing how you feel, what you saw, what you heard. And just remember, you are connected to everything that is, all love and light. One of our biggest jobs, growing and strengthening our intuition, is letting go of the self, of letting go of the personhood, and allowing just what is always there to be seen. And you have that ability in you. Everybody does. And as we relax and open our hearts and minds, we can learn to tune into that information and resonate with it so it guides our lives. Nice job, everybody. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Monica, for that beautiful practice. I had a brilliant sunflower on my stage, and it turned up and turned to the sun, which I would think is very appropriate for a sunflower. And it just told me to stay turned toward the sun, just keep receiving that light and that information, that it's always shining down. And yeah, so that was beautiful practice. Thank you so much for guiding that. And for our listeners who'd like to follow up on that and do that again, you've been so gracious to contribute that guided meditation on the ROV meditation app. So anybody who wants to just be able to access that anytime, you can go to raisingourvibration.net and click on the link to download the app and just look up Strengthening Your Intuition. And it's right there for you to practice anytime. So thank you, Monica. Thank you so much for sharing your work, for sharing that wonderful practice with us. And Stephen, anything you want to add before we go?
Well, I love that you're the sunflower and I was the lotus, Kevin. So I'm it's fantastic. So Monica, I'm just incredibly grateful to you. It's such a beautiful practice, that. So I found it very rich and deep. Yeah, there were many things that arose. So just suffice to say, it was just exquisite. So I'm sure everybody listening to this and viewing or listening is going to get so much out of doing this. So thank you so much for your presence and your grace and the incredible intuitive wisdom that you bring to us.
So thank you, guys. Thank you so much for having me. This was really fun.
Thank you, Monica. Great to have you on. And thank you all for watching and listening. And if you'd like more information on meditation and awareness practices like this, you can visit raisingourvibration.net. And Monica, would you tell everybody where they can connect with you about your work in case they're interested in sessions or classes?
Oh, absolutely. So people can reach me at Energia, ENERGIA-transformyourlife.com.
Wonderful. So Energia-transformyourlife.com. You can go there and see all that Monica has to offer and connect with her there as well. So thank you all once again. We look forward to seeing you next time on the Raising Our Vibration podcast. Bye for now.